And those of you watching BC in Pittsburgh, welcome to Conseco Fieldhouse, just underway in Indianapolis. First round matchup of the Big Ten tournament. 9th-seeded defending tournament champion Iowa and 8th-seeded Purdue. And the Boilermakers go right to Indianapolis's own Rodney Smith, and the 6'6" senior forward starts the score.
And I expect him to have a good tournament, if you will. I don't know how far they'll go in the tournament, but he is back in Indianapolis. Purdue will get out aggressively playing you on the defensive end.
Sean Sonderleiter aggressively taking it in on John Allison, and he'll go for a three-point play.
Hey, Dave, this is a heck of a move for a guy at that size. I mean, you're looking at Sonderleiter at 6'9". Watch him go to the left hand, create the hack by Allison. Does a good job getting himself under control. Allison got fooled, thought he was going to the right hand. Sonderleiter goes to the foul line.
That may be the best move he has ever made in his 2 years as a Hawkeye. The best we've ever seen out of it.
Bar none.
Just 8 of 21 free throws on the year now for Sonderleiter. But he does tie it at 2.
Iowa will be out in their man-to-man, and they'll play a little bit more help defense. That's right away. Dean knocks down a 3.
Boston College transfer out of Schenectady, New York. Willie Dean, the 61st three-pointer of the year. Big Ten's leading scorer this year at 17.3 per game. Reggie Evans down the baseline, open for a 3, not quite for Sonderleiter. Pierce and Dean battling for the loose ball. It'll be Purdue's. Luke Recker, Chauncey Leslie, Pierre Pierce in the backcourt for Steve Alford with Sean Sonderleiter, Reggie Evans up front, Willie Dean, Maynard Lewis, Joe Marshall, the 3 guards for Gene Keady, John Allison, Rodney Smith are the front court. And Willie Dean, guarded by the freshman Pierce. 4 seniors in this Purdue lineup. Allison, one of them. Can't get the turnaround. And Reggie Evans, who led the Big Ten in rebounding, starts the fast break. Pierce finishes, and he'll go for 3.
Well, you can see the energy on the part of Iowa is definitely there. First, Sonderleiter gets their first basket by being aggressive, and then getting an opportunity to get himself in position to run is Pierre. Just got out ahead. Smith tried to get back. Couldn't stay in position. Ball nicely touched off the glass by Pierre.
Steve Alford ran off 4 wins in 4 days at the United Center last year, and has seen Pierre Pierce with a 3-point play tie this one at 5 apiece. No backcourt pressure.
Yeah, because Purdue has won so many different people, if you will, at that point guard position. That's why Iowa's trying to put a little pressure on. Iowa's now in a 2-3 zone. Dean is primarily a scorer. They have him playing a little bit more of the point guard position.
Shot clock down to 7. Dean behind an Allison screen has his second 3.
Boy, he looks like he's in a nice groove. Comfortable coming off that screen to the right in good form.
38% three-point shooter this year. Has just about doubled his scoring from a year ago. Now Pierce slashing in, a little backhand finish, tapped out by Allison to Joe Marshall. And Purdue on the run, setting up a 3 by Lewis.
Well, they're putting some pressure defensively on Iowa. You've got to get back, pick up the shooters, and so you've got to play a little more from the 3-point line back in, Dave.
Terrific shooting start. Purdue's hit all 3 of their 3-pointers.
And Purdue will guard you extremely well.
Sonderleiter briefly lost the handle. First time Luke Recker even touches it. And the top defender in the backcourt, Joe Marshall, has the Recker assignment. Shot clock under 10. Sonderleiter.
Allison second.
That is 2 on John Allison. Gene Keady, the second winningest coach in Big Ten history. 22nd year, that's 6th nationally in tenure. But after coming within 1 step of what would have been his first Final Four 2 years ago, had back-to-back disappointments, 17 and 15 last year. Lost in the 3rd round of the NIT. must sweep this tournament to get to the postseason. There will be no NIT for the Boilermakers this year. It's win here and surprise their way into the NCAAs or go home.
Gene Keady's problem has been primarily, and I think, you know, if you could get him to admit it, they haven't been able to get what they needed in terms of senior leadership.
And it's not for lack of seniors. Recker, first shot. Through Sonderleiter's hands and picked back up for an easy putback for Luke.
Now Luke is looking for the basket, but you mentioned the guy that's been effective. Sonderleiter got his hands on that one, and somehow Luke Recker came up with it on the other side and put it in.
He set a very active tone for the Hawkeyes, has Sonderleiter. Smith, mismatch against the point guard Pierce. Backs him down a bit, gets the roll.
Well, that one better go in, because that's not Gene Keady's kind of basketball. Not back him down. It's off the pass where you make plays.
Hometown roll for Rodney Smith. 13-7 Purdue. Last time these two met on a neutral court, it was here in Indianapolis in the 1980 Final Four consolation match. And Reggie Evans with his first basket and a chance at 3.
Reggie Evans doing what he does, is staying active on the glass. Tough shot by Pierre. Evans gets it. 2 Boilermakers, actually 3, able to get it up, take some contact, get to the foul line, does a very good job of getting himself to that foul line, has done it all year, including his entire stay at Iowa.
Evans led the nation in getting to the line last year and among the leaders again this year, but once he gets there, he's hit only 62%. And well short that time. Brett Busher off the bench, 6'8" sophomore. The rebound, and Lewis tapped in very close to goaltending.
Garrity does a nice job waiting for it to come off, though, I thought, Dave.
Counted for Kevin Garrity. Running one-hander, right back comes Pierce. I beg your pardon, Leslie. First 2 for Chauncey Leslie. 15-11 Purdue. Little push in the back of Garrity on Sean Sonderleiter. Iowa's first foul. Just underway, first match of the Big Ten tournament, and Gene Keady's Boilers up early.
Championship Week continues tonight on ESPN and ESPN2.
Sport utility rocket? Space capsule? The new Toyota Matrix. It's something else.
You're buying a car, got a question, want to talk to somebody. Online investing, no different. Welcome to Keady Waterhouse. Real information, real service, and real people to help you with everything. From opening your account to choosing the right mutual fund. Stop by. Take a test drive.
Open an IRA and get a 1-year subscription to Money Magazine. Keady Waterhouse, you're in control.
If you haven't tried extra strength Rolaids, you're in for a new experience. It's fruity, creamy, smooth. A new test-proof extra strength Rolaids has the taste even Tums can't beat. And it's fast. Extra strength Rolaids quickly neutralizes 21% more stomach acid than Tums DX. R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Rolaids spells relief with a taste that can't be beat.
Please have us back in the studio. Eric Williams threw up a prayer 3 for UMass to tie Xavier, pushed them to overtime, but in the free basketball, David West. Strong inside, took UMass 4 minutes, 7 seconds to score a point. It's a 7-point lead now.
Maybe the best player in the country, David West of Xavier. 15-11 Purdue. Dave Barnett and Quinn Buckner in Indianapolis. Reggie Evans within a point of 1,000 in just his 2-year Iowa career. The nation's leading rebounder last year and led the league right near the top of the country again this year and helping Iowa dominate inside. But Purdue has more than offset that with 3 3-pointers.
Yeah, the problem with Purdue is not a three-point shooting team per se. They do shoot it well, but their team that normally does a better job executing to get shots. They call that offensive.
Willie Dean down the baseline hard, but call for the charge is first.
Well, Luke Recker recognizes that Dean is coming. You see him get in position to take the charge. And what I thought was most interesting, as you get a better look at it, is that after Recker took the charge, he got up with some energy, some excitement, very much like Gene Keady has, but obviously for the other side. Because I hadn't seen that in Iowa. I didn't think Iowa was playing with any emotion, and I'm sure that's what Steve Alford told him at the timeout.
Yeah, there's been some electricity, really, for both teams. First moments here. Glenn Worley, Brody Boyd off the bench. Recker hacked by Busher.
That's constant movement that got him on that one. How Pierce got it through there will be tough. Lucas turning, watch, he starts here, turns the corner. Now watch, comes hard back at the basket. Busher gets there late. Luke Recker with the left hand, Busher fouls it. Very good job staying active.
Recker had a good game. The only time they met in the regular season, 20 points. Hit 4 threes. He has 5 here in the first 5+ minutes, and Iowa has chopped the margin down to 1. Kevin Garrity, 6'11", sophomore from Princeton, New Jersey. Austin Parkinson off the bench at the point for Purdue. Usually they will find a way to get it into Dean's hands. Now Parkinson. Mark's advantage against Recker.
I'm sorry, I was going to say Parkinson can't get it to Dean in a position to do anything, but Dean's been well defended.
And with the shot clock almost down to nothing, Garrity missed the hook, but out of bounds, and they get a fresh 35 out of it.
We'll take a look, because when you watch defensively, Pierce is doing a nice job keeping Dean from getting the ball where he'd like to get it. They got Recker on Dean now.
Parkinson, second in the Big Ten in assists this year, nearly 5 per game, and has been a starter most of the year, but Keady bringing him off the bench today.
Goes in the genes. His dad was a great player at Purdue and did a great job in getting assists as well.
Three-pointer, they finally miss one. Back iron for Marshall.
Good
Here,
time.
no look. Evans has it swatted away, and they'll call the foul on Marshall.
Pierce is a guy that's been trying to handle the ball a little bit, but you'll see running down the middle right there. He's wide open, and the ball gets faked this way, and that gets the defender to run away, and then it has to come back and foul. But he was open right away anyway. Evans goes to the foul line.
Well, that is already 7 Purdue team fouls, so Iowa has the bonus, nearly 14 minutes to use it. Evans with a chance to tie it. Reggie, second team all Big Ten this year. And with those numbers, the first Hawkeye to lead the league in rebounding consecutive years since the early 70s. Kevin Cooner, he hits them both, and the Hawkeyes have their first lead. Maynard Lewis coming back in to replace Marshall. And only one Iowa foul is the surprise in the early going.
Well, Steve Alford has to be happy with that because you want to play defense without fouling, and he's been able to get that going. But first of all, Purdue has only really attacked the basket maybe once, and that was at the end of a 35-second violation. By that jump shot, that should tell you something. That's a pro jump shot. You got to get it inside.
Missed that three-pointer and a foul. Then the scramble for the rebound. 7 o'clock ESPN and ACC first-round matchup. Championship week presented by 7-Up continues. The 8th-seeded Seminoles of Florida State against the 9th-seeded Clemson Tigers down in Charlotte as the ACC gets underway tonight. Big Ten here, Iowa, Purdue to be followed by Northwestern, Michigan, and then tonight Minnesota, Penn State. Glenn Worley, sophomore from Iowa City.
Well, it's a tournament that's wide open, and I think it's wide open by evidence of the fact that you had, if you will, co-champions, 4 teams meaning any one of those teams at any point can be up or down and can be beaten by any of the other teams.
The first time since the 20s they were quad champions. I guess it's quad champions. I'm not sure if there's even a term for it. It's so unusual.
There's co-champions, and there are 4 of them is how I term it.
Air ball, Busher. Here's waiting for the outlet from Evans. Evans asked for it right back. 6-0 Iowa run over the last 2.5 minutes. Brody Boyd, one of the heroes of last year's tournament, down to Evans. And Busher got hooked by Worley. And a mock ovation by the Purdue fans as the second Hawkeye foul goes on the board.
Oh, Gene Keady better be careful because he's about to get a technical.
In fact, he did get a technical.
Oh, they gave it to him. Ed Hightower gave him that technical.
Well, finally gets a call. And still gets teed. Just reminding the crew of the foul disparity. 9 against his Boilermakers, and that's just the second Iowa team foul.
So we'll get a chance. I mean, he's over there trying to get Gene Keady to back up. He wanted him to stay away from him, is what it looked like official Ed Hightower was telling him. But Gene Keady, this has been a difficult year. I mean, it has for Steve Alford as well. But I think at some point your emotions really start to override a lot of the other issues. But he's going to fight for every bit of fairness in his mind.
Well, Recker hit both shots to make it 19-15. And after the good start, keyed by the three-point shooting of Dean and Lewis, now Purdue falling behind by 4. Both teams 6-12 from the field, and the difference is the free throw shooting. Iowa's at 7 out of 10. 8-0 run. And another mock ovation.
I think this is on Duez Henderson.
Henderson just in off the bench, senior from Detroit, is hit with the foul.
You know, when you as a player, when your coach gets a technical and you've been around the game long enough, that's when you make sure you take the ball to the basket, because it puts officials in a really awkward position and force them to make a call.
Speaking of taking it to the basket, Maynard Lewis.
Nice job of execution.
Sneaks in. Lewis with 5, cuts it to 2. Luke Recker. His numbers pretty comparable to last year. But last year at this time, he was injured and done for the year. So was Ryan Hogan, we haven't seen off the bench yet. And yet, without those two, Iowa still made the run. He hits Worley for an easy layup.
Well, Luke Recker had Dean Oliver with him, which helped him last year. Now he's getting himself more involved in the game, much more so than the last game we saw Recker play, looking to try to make plays.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Henderson. 11:53 in the first half. Iowa leading Gene Keady's Boilermakers 21-17. When we come back, we will see why Gene Keady is the dean of the Big Ten.
The Toyota 4Runner can take you places other vehicles can't, which could necessitate bringing on some additional equipment.
For the courageous New England Patriots, the forecast turned out super.
30, 25, 50.
Share the thrills with Sports Illustrated and the great new NFL Films video, The New England Patriots Super Bowl 36 Champions, on your choice of either VHS or DVD. Plus, this hardbound Sports Illustrated commemorative. This individually numbered classic captures the Patriots in championship style. Both are free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now for an inside look at the miraculous season of the New England Patriots free with your paid order of 55 issues of Sports Illustrated for only $1.59 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price. This Super Bowl football, designed exclusively for Sports Illustrated, is also free when you use your credit card. It's a super collectible you can't get anywhere else. Call now and get all three free with your choice of either VHS or DVD. This is where the action is. Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
Iowa up 4. Well, over the years, we've been lucky enough to witness some of the all-time greatest expressions of Gene Keady. And with 22 seasons at Purdue, he is by far the dean of the conference. He has 15 seasons on both Tom Izzo and Jerry Dunn. More experience than 8 coaches combined. And not only that, Quinn, he's the only coach who knows what it's like to coach against Steve Alford, the player, and Steve Alford, the head coach.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while. 22 years? There's only 33 years, I think, among the balance of the coaches in the conference.
He sees Maynard Lewis stick to three-pointer. Lewis scoring off the last 2 inbounds passes for Purdue. They come back within 1. Now Worley, guarded by Matt Carroll, freshman off the bench. Not there for Boyd. Evans knew right where the miss was coming down.
Boyd is from Indiana. He may have a good tournament as well. Duggar, Indiana.
Recker gets tangled up with Darmetrius Kilgore, who is called for his first. And that is now the 10th team foul.
You got to be able to use screens. See, coming right there, a nice screen there. You free up, you get a look, you got to knock it down. Lewis does.
Keady with the technical. Iowa now to 10 team fouls, and the first miss by Recker. Second best free throw shooter this year in the league, 88%. Back end, John Allison. Joe Marshall returns. Recker last year missed the final 15 games of the season, fractured a kneecap against his former Indiana teammates.
You know, Dave, Gene Keady takes a look on. We talked about Iowa and the inability to get to the foul line. They've been to the foul line here 11 times and still not halfway through the first half, so they are playing much more aggressively. They've only made 7 of those 12 now.
Yeah, they are getting there. They're not taking great advantage of it, but they haven't shot free throws well all year. 69%, 9th in the Big Ten. Ryan Hogan in for the first time. Goes baseline to Worley. Too much English on the reverse. Evans is there to put it back.
That's got to be disappointing. You're playing a 2-3 zone. A guy takes the baseline. Evans, on the other hand, does the dirty work and gets a hoop.
His 6th rebound already. Allison a little bit too soft on the hook shot. Carroll saves it off Worley.
Good play by Carroll to chase it down and to get it off. That goes off Worley.
Yeah, they compare Matt Carroll to, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Brian Cardinal. You can tell the way he plays.
Very Cardinal-like. First game of the Big Ten tournament. First year it's contested here at Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, and Purdue hit threes early. Willie Dean misses that three-pointer, and a rebound foul against Joe Marshall, his second. Gene Keady fit to be tied already with a free throw disparity of 12-0 in favor of Iowa. His team put the Hawkeyes in the bonus barely 6 minutes into the game, and they're already in the double bonus.
Yeah, that wouldn't put you in a problem. And the other part that adds to that, though, if Gene Keady's foul was a direct bonus, a direct technical, that goes to team fouls anyway.
It did. And after Purdue had the huge edge at the line in the first meeting, been totally reversed. Ryan Hogan, an 82% free throw shooter. Played on the Kentucky national champs, 1998. And like Recker, had to sit at the end of last season. Did not get to take part in the run, which was all the more remarkable because Hogan and Recker couldn't take part. Allison spins in against Evans.
That's really where Purdue has the advantage. With Evans trying to guard Allison. Allison is about 6'11", 6'10". If you can get any production at all there, then you got a problem. You see the ball gets inside. Allison had been coming to this shoulder, turns the other way. Evans reaches in, tries to hide it at the end, but Allison needs to finish that.
First free throw for the Boilermakers. Get within 3. Gerald Riley in for the Hawkeyes for the first time. Marshall will take a seat. Allison, senior from New Palestine, Indiana, the only Boilermaker to have started every game each of the last 2 years, in fact, and he hits 2 to bring it within 2.
Let's see what Iowa does. Recker's on the bench. Evans is out. Those are the 2 guys that get them most of the numbers. Where do they go for their offense?
Maybe to Hogan, the top 3-point shooter in the league this year. Boyd to Worley, who traveled. Iowa Purdue to be followed by Michigan Northwestern, 4:30 Eastern this afternoon. That will be on ESPN. Tonight, ESPN Regional for Minnesota Penn State. Some thinking Minnesota may already be NCAA tournament worthy. Some thinking they may have to win 1 or 2 here.
Well, there's some question as to whether or not they're on the bubble. I think they've had a good year, and a very good year, and I think 1 win and they're in. I mean, they're the team, if you will, that's in doubt. Of their 6 teams, potentially, they're the one.
Well, 9-7 for Minnesota coming into the tournament. Iowa, the last team to go above 500 in Big Ten play and not get an NCAA invitation. That was in 1998. Schedule strength, so-so. RPI, not that impressive, but they've beaten Ohio State, Indiana, Creighton. They have some skins on their wall. Worley has been real active off the bench.
Boy, and I mean, he just pulled through Allison to get that one to go down. What do you think is a worthy RPI under the circumstances for Minnesota?
Well, here's Dean missing on the 3-point try.
A fadeaway 3-pointer, by the way.
If they had held on in their last game of the season and beaten Illinois, had them beat, let them get away on a series of mishaps in the last few seconds, I think without any question they'd be in. But instead of 10-6 and a no-brainer, they leave some room for interpretation by the selection committee.
All 4 of the teams that they beat, and as a matter of fact, 5 of those, and 4 of the teams that they beat, and the other 1 of the losses are going to the NCAA dance. Is that what do you think that does?
Well, the Oregon win looks a whole lot better than it did when it happened back in December. North Carolina Wilmington won their conference the other night, the Colonial Tournament. That looks better than at the time. Dean sitting after picking up his 2nd foul. 4 Purdue starters, each already with 2 fouls. And Worley gets them both. Already at his average, 7 points for Worley, biggest lead for the Hawkeyes.
Getting a contribution from the Iowa is getting contributions from a lot of people.
I think just to wrap up the Minnesota discussion, what hurts them is the overall perception of the league being down this year. Most years, 9-7, you're in. This may be the exception. As Austin Parkinson hits for the first time.
You may be right. That's why I think one gets them in there. I think it puts them in a pretty good position. And a solid game against Illinois, of course. They called a foul inside, I think, on Worley.
This is called on Worley, his 2nd. The last 3 years, the Big Ten was the best conference in the country, and they've fallen all the way to 6th this year. The non-conference record of 650, the worst for the Big Ten in 20 years.
Well, I mean, there's no explanation for that other than the fact you lose seniors, and that happens. So you're right. That will definitely impact what happens with Minnesota.
Lost seniors, lost underclassmen, like Jason Richardson, Zach Randolph from Michigan State. And that has kept the conference from having the one super team that would bring up everybody's perception. Nice cut without the ball to get the layup for Luke Recker.
I was talking to Steve Alford and his coaching staff, and they had talked about the question I asked them under the circumstances, what were your practices like? And they have talked about their practices have been very good. So they think that they can play a lot better. They haven't been able to carry sometimes from practice to game.
And that's what's made the year that much more perplexing. They think they're fine until their game actually tips off. They look fine right now, up 6.
People want to win. Well, you don't get there with milk and cookies.
On Sunday, March 10th.
I've never had a team play scared. What the hell are you scared of?
The first original motion picture from ESPN.
I had to sit around for a year with a losing record. I'm not going to let you people do that to me.
Brian Dennehy is Bobby Knight.
Don't you kids get it? Playing my game is what got you here.
A season on the brink. Premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Attention honorably discharged U.S. veterans and spouses and widows between the ages of 50 and 79. Many veterans and their families have received this notice advising them of eligibility for term life insurance benefits. If you did not receive one, you may not be aware you could qualify to apply for life insurance coverage from Veterans Life Insurance Company. If you're a U.S. veteran, age 50 to 79, or the spouse or widow of a veteran, you can still apply for $5,000 or $10,000 of supplemental life insurance exclusively at vets-only rates. Call this number now to request your no-cost, no-obligation benefit eligibility statement from Veterans Life, with the rate for your age and steps you must take to apply. You'll also receive a Veterans Burial Benefits Update that explains government benefits you're entitled to. This life insurance benefit for veterans ages 50 to 79 is not automatic. Call now to request information.
Veterans only. Call 1-800-652-0101.
Could not have a more spectacular day. Downtown Indianapolis, a look at Monument Circle, not too far from Conseco Fieldhouse. It feels like the middle of May out there. Not a cloud in the sky, in the 60s. And inside, the first time it's played away from Chicago. And we expect packed houses for every session. 18,500 capacity at Conseco Fieldhouse. 30-24 Iowa. 7:45 in the first half. Dave Barnett and Quinn Buckner from the 5th Big Ten tournament.
I mean, you know, the Big Ten found a great place to have it. We were talking about this is a heck of a facility. Good play.
Parkinson beating Recker and then shuffles it inside for Brett Busher.
The key was beating Recker because once you break the defense down, now somebody's got to come cover. Busher got open.
You know, the first 4 years at the United Center, obviously a great facility in a big-time city. What people like about Indianapolis is you can walk from most of the hotels here to the field house, and there's a real atmosphere of something going on in downtown. And Chauncey Leslie rebounded by Recker. Iowa hitting the offensive glass early and often today, but it's stripped away by Busher. And the long pass sets up a Marshall three-point try. Knocked out.
This is a tough call. They give this to you. Iowa was about to get that one. Gene Keady thinks that Busher knocked it off one of the Iowa players' hand. That's kind of what I thought. Busher comes in right here. Hard to tell right there, but definitely Busher's action was going that way, and that's why Iowa ends up getting the ball.
These two men on a neutral site here in Indianapolis, Market Square Arena. What used to be the consolation game of the Final Four was discontinued the next year. Both made the Final Four in 1980. Jared Reiner's first basket. Sophomore from South Dakota. Iowa back up by 6.
Let's see how Purdue executes here. How many times they're able to move the ball. Because that's the way they play. They don't have anyone that can beat you off the dribble.
Maynard Lewis hasn't missed many. Rebounded by Evans. 7th board for Reggie Evans.
You know, they end up taking a jump shot. I mean, that's what drives. I was with Gene Keady with the Olympic team in Australia, and I know how he coaches the game, and I know why this has had to be a frustrating year. They're taking jump shots when he's a coach that plays inside out, both offensively and defensively. So this has been a really tough year, and I went over to speak to him prior to the game. As you take a look, the most losses ever for him. He was not, I mean, he was friendly, but he was, to say the least, just a tip on edge.
Well, as you'd expect. This is a guy with 6 Big Ten championships with a senior-heavy roster and has had a real challenge in trying to get this team to play the way all his other teams have. A couple weeks ago, he said we had to ditch our defense. Same defense we used to win 12 Big Ten games a year with, won 6 titles. This team would never really buy into it, and so ironically they had some great success after they changed defensive strategies and packed it in, made teams shoot over them, gambled less in the passing lanes. They were just giving up too many easy baskets. But what has been successful for him over the years has not been as much a part of their formula this year. Willie Dean's third three-pointer brings him within 4.
And a great find by Austin Parkinson, because Willie Dean, Parkinson had to throw it by one of his own teammates to get it to Dean.
Pierre Pierce missing on the run, knocked out by Parkinson. Iowa 52%, 11 for 21. Purdue 44%, 11 for 25, and the difference is still the 11-2 free throw advantage for the Hawkeyes.
Let's see if the Hawkeyes handle this 2-3 zone.
Pierre Pierce, Westmont, Illinois, runner-up for Illinois Mr. Basketball to Eddie Curry last year. Went straight to the NBA. Missed by Leslie. Evans is there. Got fouled from behind. That's 3 on Allison.
Boy, Evans just did a good job clearing himself a spot. There were 3 Boilermakers under the basket, and Evans is able to come up with the ball. Pretty good job. You'll see it taken. And what he does is Marshall can't do anything. Allison doesn't get him and move him under the basket. If you were playing in that situation against a rebounder, what you do is you lock him under the basket. You don't let him clear space. Allison did it. Now he's picked up his third.
So he will have to sit, and he's replaced by Garrity. They lose really their only shot blocking presence, and he thought he had a clean block that time. He had 57 blocks this year. The rest of the team together had 39. So just about all their interior defense now sitting on the bench. Evans, 8 points, 35-29, under 5 minutes. So Garrity against Gerald Riley. Parkinson. Matt Carroll back in. Dean guarded by Pierre Pierce, under 10 to shoot. Garrity, the give back. Marshall, 5 to shoot.
He's got to go to work.
Carroll, pick and roll, just beat the shot clock and couldn't quite get the finish.
Tough play to make.
Recker looks up the floor. Evans maybe too far underneath, and he did step out of bounds. Championship week presented by 7-Up continues today and tonight in the Conagra Foods Big East Championship from Madison Square Garden. Look at the quarterfinal. Pittsburgh advancing past Boston College right now on ESPN. Georgetown taking on Miami, and the Hurricanes lead by 4 in that one. Villanova, UConn tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPN2, and at 9 Eastern on ESPN will be St. John's and Notre Dame. Most people see the Big East as completely wide open this year, maybe as wide open as the Big Ten. There is absolutely no clear favorite in the Big Ten this year. Wisconsin is the top seed, but there were 4 tied for first, and Michigan State just a game back. Meanwhile, in the Big East, you had St. John's, Syracuse, Georgetown, BC, Rutgers, all at or near 20 wins, and yet you can't really consider any of them necessarily guaranteed to be in.
No, there's no doubt about it. Now, some of them are playing their way out. BC is really starting to struggle. They started out pretty well early in the year. So there's some teams, and St. John's has actually started to come on. So it is not definitive in terms of who's going to be in it from the Big East.
Rodney Boyd, three-pointer. 9-point lead, the Hawkeyes' biggest. Can Dean get it right back? No. Marshall clearing the offensive rebound. Three-pointers shot Purdue into an early lead. Offensive foul, Dean, and now he has 3.
Now, I'm looking at Gene Keady. There's not a whole lot he can say. I mean, because he just looked over, kind of smiled, and just kind of, we got to play from where we are.
All he can say is, get ready to get in, Maynard Lewis. The league's leading scorer in foul trouble now. And the team trailing Iowa by 9.
Excuse me, wait. Bud Light, please. Can I? Oh, there you are. Oh, hey, wait. Can I have a Bud Light, please? Yeah. Hi.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
Hey, I'll be right down. Oh, wait.
Make it a Bud Light.
Ah, I see you've met our newest... Yes, well, it defies description, really. We call it Matrix. And as you can see, it has mobile office capability. Deceptively large cargo capacity with a tough rear deck. And, of course, impeccable handling.
Did I fail to mention the powerful stereo system?
Mobile command unit, space-age bachelor pad. The new Toyota Matrix. It's something else.
We moved into a new house where Mom got this great new job. I heard her talking to Dad about doing the right thing with her retirement money. Something about rollover, which gave me this great idea.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Roll over. Roll over. I'm just gonna turn your body this way. I hope her rollover was easier. It must be.
No load mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Bruce Davis with you in the studio. We have an entertaining game going on in Conference USA. Louisville and Marquette penetrating into the lanes. Cordell Henry. Cordell hustling, saves it. Odarte Blankson's going to look around, and Cordell figures you might as well try it again. Look at that crossover, and Tom Crean's team up on Louisville, 64-55.
And here, 38-29 Iowa. Brody Boyd with another three-pointer.
We're looking at Tom Crean's team getting it going. It looks like Steve Alford has got his going. Out of the timeout, they get Brody Boyd coming off the screen, looking for a three-pointer that he drills to give his club a 12-point lead.
We get down to 3 minutes to go. Iowa looking like they did a year ago. Parkinson on the putback by Garrity.
Nice rebound putback.
Last year they ran through Northwestern, Ohio State, Penn State, and finally Indiana. Sonderleiter. And the foul called here on Garrity.
I mean, you see coming right there off the screen. He's clean. Nice job. And I'm watching Steve Alford as Brody knocks this shot down. And Reggie Evans, he's telling Reggie Evans to make sure that he gets on Sonderleiter to rebound it. I mean, he screamed it at him. So the leadership that Steve Alford wants from his team, he's going to have to input it a little bit himself to force his club to do what they need to do. And this is a young man that has really had to grow up in a lot of ways in terms of a coach, not as a man, as a coach, but it helps you as a man, because he thought he was going to have a better season and had to do something he has not done, which is call Coach Knight at Texas Tech University. Their relationship had been a little torn, to say the least, but Coach Knight was right there to help him through a difficult time.
Yeah, so that line of communication is reestablished. Marshall fouled by Sonderleiter. His second. Steve Alford, I think, has looked in the mirror as much as he's looked at any other aspect of his team as to why they struggle the way they have. We have Reese Davis coming up with a 7-up halftime report. Xavier survives Conference USA. You just saw some Marquette Louisville action, more highlights from Cincinnati, and the teams that are already in the NCAA tournament.
You were talking about that with Steve Alford. What was interesting that you and I found out after doing a game down with them in Iowa City is not necessarily the reflection, but the candidness in which he shared with us, right? That reflection about the things he had to do to grow. I mean, he really thinks that he could have done a better job in handling his players. And I thought it was pretty candid to say that, because some coaches won't say it.
It's sticking with his guns. I think what he regrets most is that he compromised some of what he considers to be cardinal principles of his system to try and adjust it to players, and I don't think he'll do that anymore. I think it'll now be players, you adjust to the system. Recker moving on the back door. Spotted very nicely by Reiner. 11 in the first half for Luke Recker.
Impressive pass by Reiner.
Biggest lead of the game, but 2 minutes and a half now, up to 12 for the Hawkeyes. Lewis has it blocked by Pierce. Down to Evans, whips it into the front court, and Parkinson fouled by Pierce.
Gene Keady had to laugh. He thought the official had missed the foul. Luke Recker active. Watch him cut. Back door. Is it open? Yes, indeed. You got to thread the needle. Caught looking at the ball there was Marshall, but Reiner does a good job making the bounce. Recker reacting to Reiner, who makes the good pass.
You know, this is the Iowa everybody expected to see all year. And for the first 15 games, this was what we saw from Steve Alford's team. They were 12-3 through December. Everything was as expected. They were in the top 10. And right on the heels of Illinois, the best team in the Big Ten. And then they lost 11 out of 15 after that start. 6 of their last 7. But remember, coming into the tournament last year, they lost 7 out of 8 and got reignited. It is shown again today. It is possible. In and out by Reiner. 44-34. Minute and a half in the half.
And the #1 scorer on Purdue's team is sitting on the bench, so they have to try to manufacture some offense.
Willie Dean has 3 fouls, their top shot blocker. John Allison also has 3 fouls. And this is Demetrius Kilgore, their #2 scorer, who has nothing so far here in the first half.
That's just a bad decision. I don't care, bad execution. A shot from there, at that point, it doesn't make sense. It's too early in the shot clock when you're trying to come back.
Reggie Evans already has 11 rebounds. Counted on the baseline drive by Pierre Pierce. 5 for the freshman point guard. 9 different Iowa players have scored. Everybody contributed.
Trying to open up the middle is Purdue.
Under 30 seconds is Parkinson. Still outside. Now Lewis finds a little driving space. Can't get it. 23 seconds. Lead pass ahead, and Evans is fouled. About all Parkinson could do.
Parkinson's job is to get back, but it looks like Iowa is playing with a much better sense of what they're trying to do. Evans has been tough on the glass for the most part during the game. In this situation, Pierre gets it up. Evans gets it, tries to put it down. Parkinson does the only thing he can to try to keep the easy basket from occurring.
I mean, it's only a half of basketball, but you can't escape it. This is as good as Iowa has looked at any point in the conference season, at least.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Oh. Oh, a little excitement.
Got a shot at a first half double-double. 20 seconds. Keady clearing it for Purdue. Iowa taking full advantage of having the bonus for almost 14 minutes of the first half. They weather hot early shooting by Purdue. Parkinson with 5 seconds. May not get any shot off. Now Kilgore backs out. Long three-pointer, no good. And at the half, Iowa 46-34. They have a 14-5 edge from the free throw line. Just the opposite of when they played in the regular season, when Purdue won because of an advantage at the line. Iowa by 12. We send you to Reese Davis in the studio.
Dave, Quinn, I believe that's the Hawkeye team we've been waiting to see since November. We did see them in November, but not much since then. Coming up on the 7-Up halftime report, we'll take you out to the A-10, a game that was settled, at least for a while, on a prayer at the end, at least at the end of regulation. Would X mark the spot going into the semis? We shall see.
ESPN2's presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours. And in part by Toshiba, the official sponsor of people who make copies. Toshiba, don't copy, lead.
A lot of companies put out promotional calendars. Great idea for 7-Up. But instead of models, I've decided to use the 7-Up truck drivers. Not that good. Oh, genius. Sexy, kind of.
I printed and collated the color report that won the big account and got us into a larger office. And this is the respect I get? I need a hug.
Toshiba copiers make you look good.
Am I a speed skater? Yes. Did I skate when they said I couldn't skate? Yes. Did I skate my way to a World Cup victory? Yes. Could I have ever skated this far if I'd ever done drugs? Please.
It's 3:30. We're going to be late. Grandpa, it's storming outside. But what are you doing? Take the shot. It's starting to hail. Maybe we should turn around.
Let's keep moving. Oh!
We are already late. Oh, yes. It's bingo tonight, people.
Making it to bingo. On the wings of Goodyear.
What would it be worth to wake up in a great mood?
I'm in a great mood.
Because you had a good night's sleep.
I slept like a baby.
In a nice, comfortable room.
What a room, yeah.
How about 10% off?
Hey, I like that 10%.
With Super 8's VIP card, it's yours, guaranteed.
VIP, that's me.
At over 1,900 locations. Clean, friendly Super 8.
Clean, friendly, yeah.
Super 8, all the room you want.
Yeah. Hey!
It's time you expected more from an insurance company. So call Progressive Auto Insurance, and we can give you our low price and the rates for up to 3 leading competitors. And that could save you hundreds.
We want you to save money, even if it's not with us.
Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE now or visit Progressive.com. Compare rates and buy a policy instantly. We want you to save money, even if it's not with us. You could start saving now. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. Not what you'd expect from an insurance company.
This halftime report is presented by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours.
Glad to have you with us on the 7-Up halftime report. Iowa on top of Purdue by a dozen. Iowa trying to move on and face the top seed Wisconsin and make another run through the Big Ten tournament. Well, you know, in the Big East, rare is a 20-win team that doesn't make the NCAA tournament. In fact, it's never happened. Couple of candidates this year, though. Syracuse in a lot of trouble. So was Boston College, taking on Pittsburgh in the quarterfinals. This obviously would be an impressive win, but Donatas Savanskis to a 4 from 3. Gives the Panthers a 3-point lead after a slow start. Now a 10-point game. Savanskis misses and tips his own in there. 16 points, 6 assists, and Pittsburgh closed the half on a 21-4 run. They were up by a dozen, now up by 14. Brandon Knight off the Troy Bell miss, and the co-Big East Player of the Year, Smooth. 13 points, 6 assists. Pittsburgh cruising. 76-62, so Boston College, like Syracuse, very much on the bubble and in a precarious position as far as the NCAA selection committee goes. Troy Bell just 2 of 9, 10 points. He was 6 of 29 in 2 tournament games. Boston College, a very difficult time winning if Bell doesn't produce more offense. Georgetown and Miami playing right now over on ESPN, and the Hurricanes on top of the Hoyas, 22-18, and the Hoyas have been the thorn in the Canes' side in Big East tourney play. Just 1-6 all-time against G-Town is Miami. Miami's lost just 10 conference tournament games. 6 of them have come at the hands of Georgetown. This is the way the bracket looks right now, with Pittsburgh advancing into the semifinals as the top seed from the West. They'll face the winner of the G-Town-Miami game. Villanova, Jay Wright, plugging away with Dick and Digger, trying to get on that bubble to really make a case for himself with a win over UCLA earlier this year. If they could knock off Connecticut as well, St. John's and Notre Dame to nightcap that game on ESPN. In the Atlantic 10, UMass and Xavier. UMass up by 10. Brendan Martin hits the triple. UMass was 4 of 7 from 3 in the first half. Well, Xavier shot just 17%, but it was just a 7-point game at the break. Second half, Romain Sato draining the triple, and the X-Men took the lead. Micah Brand working inside, and UMass surges back on top by 5, but Xavier comes back again. Tied at 48. David West held scoreless in the first half, but not in the second. Beats the shot clock and the Musketeers by a bucket. Final few seconds, UMass down by 3. Dwyer is shooting in the paint. Well, maybe so you can get it tipped out to Eric Williams. Bottom. And overtime at 52, but Xavier would turn on the D. And a little O from David West. West along the baseline. Xavier held UMass scoreless for 4 minutes, 7 seconds in overtime. The top seed Musketeers move on 65-59. UMass was looking for a little revenge, not really happy with the way Xavier celebrated the regular season championship in their meeting just 5 days ago. So the Musketeers move on. They await the winner of the Dayton-St. Joseph's game. St. Joseph probably needs to win the tournament, definitely needs to win the tournament to get into the NCAA. Temple, the hottest team in the conference. They won 9 out of 10. Richmond and the dangerous from an offensive standpoint, St. Bonnie's also in the quarterfinals a little later on tonight. Conference USA, Louisville and Marquette, and this has been a barn burner in Cincinnati. Luke Whitehead knocking down the baseline. Jay, the Ville within 4. You know, they dropped 110 on TCU yesterday. Scott Merritt, look at the post moves. Points in the paint, crucial. Marquette had a 10-point lead, but you know, Rick Pitino's teams are going to play well come tournament time. Larry O'Bannon draining the triple, and when it's a 7-point game, watch this wild sequence. Cordell Henry knifing down the boulevard and scoring coast to coast. Marquette up by 9 at 64-55. Here's Henry saving the ball in. Terry Blankston's going to get it back to Henry, and oh, cross me over. Cordell Henry showing some leadership. Just a few moments ago, Dwayne Wade, another part of that outstanding Golden Eagle backcourt for Tom Crean, stunk you very much, going inside, but Pitino's got his guys hanging around. It's 71-67. Pitino, 17-1 in SEC tournament play as head coach of Kentucky, and certainly Louisville is picking up right where those old Wildcat teams left off as far as being ready for March action. Conference USA bracket goes a little something like this. South Florida and Tulane able to advance. Speaking of great teams in the tournament, Bobby Lutz and Charlotte, they've been outstanding. Lutz 9-1 as the 49er head coach since taking over the 49er reigns there in Conference USA tournament play. Of course, the Marquette Louisville winner gets the winner of the Memphis-Houston game. Luke Recker showing a little leadership. This team has been maligned for not having much, but Iowa getting something done in the first half, up 46-34 on Purdue.
A lot of companies put out promotional calendars. Great idea for 7-Up. But instead of models, I've decided to use the 7-Up truck drivers. It's all you, baby. It's all you. Love the camera. Yes, very sweet, elegant.
You're trying to escape. You're trying to get out.
Not that good. Excellent. That's genius. Sexy, kind of.
Introducing the new Sonata from Hyundai. Redesigned with V6 power, room for 5, and the freedom of America's best warranty plan.
Daddy, look what I got at school today.
That's great.
Gonna put on your new car, Daddy?
Let's go put it on Mommy's car.
The new Sonata. There's not another thing it needs.
I wonder how many of them are ready for the day when they head home for retirement. If they're TD Waterhouse customers, chances are they're prepared. Because TD Waterhouse has an online retirement planner, along with retirement specialists at all their branches. It's time you checked in at TD Waterhouse before you head home for work and close shop for good.
Open an IRA and get a 1-year subscription to Money Magazine. TD Waterhouse, you're in control.
The bow. Resistance becomes strength. Becomes power. The power to change and reshape your entire body. This is Bowflex, an entire gem-in-one easy-to-use machine. So powerful, it delivers over 60 Health Club quality exercises with up to 410 pounds of resistance in any room in your home. Strength training with Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. One simple workout. 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Bowflex is real. The results are real. And you can own one with no money down and payments as low as $33 per month. Call right now for a free video and brochure. Bowflex, the power is yours.
Back on the 7-Up halftime report in championship week, starting down in the SEC, LSU and Vanderbilt opening up at the Georgia Dome. This is Jermaine Williams, the steal, and the punch. Bayou Bengals up by 7. Vanderbilt shot its way back close. LSU still up 4. Ronald Dupree gets his shot blocked, but Antonio Hudson, the fine freshman, see it, be it. That was way out there. The depth perception in the dome not bothering Antonio, and LSU, they're just about to finish this thing off, 67-58. What a great job John Brady's done with an outman team for much of the year. LSU hangs on as it looks like they will. They will get Georgia in the quarterfinals. In the Big 12, they are underway as well. Colorado and Nebraska, and it's the Buffs taking it 67-60. Buffs a couple of games over 500, and for their prize, they get Kansas. Jayhawks haven't lost a conference game all year. We'll see if that continues in the Big 12 tournament. In the MAC tournament, Kent State on that winning streak under Stan Heath. Marshall gave them a run. They were tied at halftime. The Golden Flashes take it by a dozen. Trevor Huffman with 24 points, 16 in a row now. Kent State gets the winner of Central Michigan and Toledo. Central Michigan has already pulled an upset in this tournament. Those already in the big dance, Gonzaga from the West Coast. Siena getting in there with a losing record. They were the first team to do so this year from a losing record. Creighton taking the Missouri Valley. Southern Illinois is going to have to sit around and wait and see if they get invited. Central Connecticut State getting in from the Northeast Conference last night. You saw that on ESPN2. Homer Drew getting Valpo in again from the Mid-Continent Conference. Going to do it for the 7-Up halftime report. We've got a second half coming right after this.
Share your heart with another.
At 7-Up, we're not just about selling soft drinks. We're about bringing people together. People from all over the world, all walks of life. Democrats, Republicans, oil company executives, environmentalists, East Coast rappers, West Coast rappers, all here to sing in peace and harmony. A little louder, everybody. I can barely hear the singing.
I feel good. Who am I playing?
John McEnroe.
Oh, man. Hey, Mike. Hey, you're going to take it easy on me, right? No. I'll give you $1. What can you do with $1? You can dial 10-10-220.
All calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
Really?
And 7 cents a minute after 20.
20 minutes for 99 cents?
Is that a good deal?
What? You can't be serious. It's a great deal. I like this guy. Forgot this one.
Dial 10-10-220. When you've got a serious leak, it's time for Leak Ender 2000. It fixes any leak fast, no matter what's leaking. Just spray it with Leak Ender 2000, and in minutes, the leak is sealed. Look, we'll cut this garden hose with a knife, then shut off the water and spray on Leak Ender 2000. Minutes later, the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed. Leak Ender 2000 is a unique compound that fills and seals any crack or separation as it hardens. Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leak Ender 2000 stops all those leaks, and it's yours for only $14.95. Call now and we'll double your order. We'll send you this giant-sized can at no extra charge. Order now.
To order your Leak Ender 2000, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-233-0500 or send check or money order for $14.95 plus $4 shipping to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-233-0500.
ESPN2's presentation of Championship Week, presented by 7-Up, is brought to you by 10-10-220. Dial it and all calls up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. And by A Season on the Brink, ESPN's first original motion picture. Premiere Sunday, March 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on ESPN.
You look at the Hall of Champions. You look at a very impressive result of the first half by the Iowa Hawkeyes. 46-34, they shoot 56%, hold Purdue to 36%. And here's my new theory about the mysterious Hawkeyes. They've been saving themselves all year. They've been pacing themselves for the tournament.
Well, it's taken them a while to get to fully implement what I think Steve Alford has wanted them to do. First of all, I'm going to tell you where they really did a good idea. You take a look at the statistics right there. In the first half, they were able to get the ball where they wanted it, 56% 24 foul shots. They averaged 24 foul shots for the game. 9 by Reggie Evans. I mean, Purdue, on the other hand, has just struggled tremendously to get anything going. Gene Keady's club has shot a number of threes. He's 36% and 3 turnovers. And you can see only 8 points by Maynard Lewis. I'll give you one more. When you look at the teams, Purdue has shot 15 of 33 shots have been three-pointers. They have 7 foul shots. Iowa has shot 4 of 27 shots as three-pointers. They have 24 foul shots. A direct correlation to getting the ball to the basket.
Yeah, those two are usually connected. And the second half starts with a blocking foul on Joe Marshall. So he now has 3. 2 other Purdue starters picked up their third with plenty of time to go in the first half. John Allison and Willie Dean.
I thought what was interesting, though, by Purdue is that Rodney Smith only played 8 minutes.
Yeah.
In the first half. I mean, it's almost as though Gene Keady just didn't want to deal with how Rodney had come about the game. And I thought he got off to a good start.
Hit a couple shots early, playing in his hometown. Drive for the reverse. Sean Sonderleiter puts Iowa up 14. That is the biggest lead yet.
Yeah, and on a layup in half-court offense with no one helping out. Not the way Gene Keady likes it done.
Maybe he does like that, though. Lewis looks at a 3, fakes it, drives in, and gets a much better look from 2.
I guarantee you that was a topic of conversation in the Purdue locker room.
Lewis down to double figures, breaking a drought of almost 4 minutes, going back to the first half without a basket. Sonderleiter back-to-back.
Nice job by Recker to stretch the defense to get Sonderleiter the shot.
50-36, Iowa. Their only win in the last 7 games of the regular season. They beat Michigan 76-56. Otherwise, there were very few positive moments for them over the second half of the regular season.
See how right there, Allison got stretched going way over. That's how Sonderleiter gets free. But part of the reason is the guard has to get back. But because there was, if you will, a lack of concentration, Gene Keady thought Allison needs to come sit down and think about it a little bit.
Kevin Garrity quickly in for Allison. And Willie Dean rejected, gets it back, and drops it in. 11 points for Willie Dean. Pierre Pierce. Chauncey Leslie, Recker, 3-guard. Starting lineup today for Alford. Pierce penetrates, pulls up from 13.
Too easy. When you get inside the foul line by that dotted line to get that is too easy. Porous defense by the Boilers.
Everything looked easy for Iowa since really 15-9 lead for Purdue. Here's Smith missing from 3. Sonderleiter active on both ends to start this half. Iowa hitting 60% from the field. Just off
you know he's getting that.
Evans, easy.
And Gene Keady's seen enough. And I can't blame him because out of this halftime, the Hawkeyes are playing with very good spirit.
First couple of minutes where Gene Keady hoped to see Purdue set the tone. It's been anything but. It's been Sonderleiter and now Evans getting anywhere they want inside for Iowa.
ESPN and ESPN2, home of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
If you haven't tried extra strength Rolaids, you're in for a new experience. It's fruity, creamy, smooth. A new test proof extra strength Rolaids has the taste even Tums can't beat. And it's fast. Extra strength Rolaids quickly neutralizes 21% more stomach acid than Tums DX. R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Rolaids spells relief with a taste that can't be beat.
We understand. Dreams do not come with expiration dates. Emergencies never check your calendar. And life does not always stick to the game plan. We're Household, and we understand the hopes and financial needs of everyday people. That's why for nearly 125 years, we've specialized in loans, credit, and understanding. Household, helping everyday people
every day.
I mean, you can dunk, but you can't dip. Your dip is gone, baby.
What are you talking about?
No dip.
Introducing new Tostitos Scoops.
Let me tell you something, Bill. I put the hip in chip. Watch this.
With the bite-sized, bowl-shaped design for the perfect dip every time. New Tostitos Scoops. Whoa. The dip lover's chip.
This is my house. Yes, it is. No, this is my house. You guys got to go.
Also great with new Queso Supreme dip.
Dave Barnett and Quinn Buckner, Conseco Field House hosting the Big Ten tournament for the first time downtown Indianapolis. And our first matchup, 9th-seeded Iowa taking care of 8th-seeded Purdue. The seed to be is number 4, 8-3, and they won the first tournament, 98. Michigan is Indiana this year. Right now, Iowa with its largest lead of the game, and Purdue coming out sloppy to start the second half. The seed you don't want to be is 5th, 0 for 4 in history for the number 5 seed. Michigan State has won this tournament twice. Best overall mark, and Corey Bradford of Illinois is the career scoring leader. He and the hottest team in the league, 8 straight wins. The Illini sitting out today, waiting to see who they will meet in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Luke Recker with 11 points, along with Reggie Evans, both leading the Hawkeyes scoring. Glenn Worley draws the foul by Rodney Smith, his third, and up next will be Northwestern taking on Michigan. The Wildcats of Bill Carmody have won 16 games. That's one off their school record for the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a nice job turning that program around. Was at Princeton, has that unusual style that is hard to practice for. I think he's an excellent coach and has done a fine job getting that program starting to get it going in the right direction.
They've been the 11th seed the last 2 years. Mark of their improvement, they move up to 7 this year. For a while, they were threatening to have a winning record in the Big Ten. Just slumped a bit at the end. Joe Marshall, first basket of 3. Transfer from Mississippi State and the College of Southern Idaho. Purdue cannot just exchange baskets. They need to get some stops, and it's been a while since they've been strong on the defensive end.
No doubt. I mean, it's good little defensive sequence right here, but you're right. They've got to find a way to get some stops and some easy baskets.
Number 10 on the shot clock. Recker sends in a long 2.
Well defended by Marshall. Accurate shot by Recker.
Luke with 13. Billy Dean with 11, leading the Boilermakers. 3 early three-pointers from him. Now Rodney Smith going to work. If they lose, this will be the final game of Rodney Smith's Purdue career.
You know, that's the way you got to look at it when you're a senior under these circumstances, and you got to play with that kind of desperation and use it as motivation. If you go down guns blazing.
Good up fake Recker, and then as he feeds Reggie Evans, call in the middle of the lane by Randy Drury. Recker ball with his first, but he's been hot from outside, and Iowa still in control.
What would you do with the Pontiac Grand Prix?
Let's go, baby. We're on our way to Lime Rock, premier Grand Prix racetrack around here.
Where else would you take a Grand Prix except on a Grand Prix track?
Let me see how you handle, baby.
Did I tell you?
It's so much fun.
Get out of my way.
This could so be our job.
Wait a minute, just drive around the 3 of us?
Well, no.
So what would you do with the Pontiac Grand Prix?
None of us have ever been to AC.
Dinner, tuxes? Tell us at Pontiac.com.
Elvis!
Whoa, Carrie Earnhardt.
Woo! Nice ride, Carrie. Yeah, she gets me around. How about let me take her for a spin? That ain't gonna happen. Get it out. Show me what you got. You letting them drive this car for $1? Yeah, $1 buys a lot with 10, 220. All calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents and 7 cents a minute after that. Hey, man, be careful. I'll be careful as soon as you help me put this wheel.
Dial 1010-220.
Back in the studios and back to the Garden. Big East Tournament, Georgetown and Miami in the quarterfinals. Kevin Braswell looking for a little help, and he finds some. Harvey Thomas in the corner, and Georgetown just down by a deuce at the break, guys.
All right, Reese, that one's close. Pittsburgh earlier defeated Boston College. Later on, 7 Eastern here on ESPN2. Villanova, UConn, and at 9 on ESPN, St. John's and Notre Dame. As the quarterfinals of the Big East wrap up, semis begin tomorrow at 7 on ESPN. Iowa by 13, 56-43. Rodney Smith jump stop into a rejection by Worley.
This is a really good call. Because I thought Rodney Smith did a nice job making his move to the left. Now, what you have to watch number 4 come into the picture. Does he stop or move forward? You'll see him coming, and watch. See how he's still coming forward? That's why he gets called for the foul. He keeps his arms up, but his body was coming forward. 2 shots for Smith.
He invaded his space.
Absolutely. It took his space away from him. I mean, some guys at least drop their hands over. Worley walked right into him, picking up his third.
And he's joining Sonderleiter with 3. Whole slew of Boilermakers, including Smith, have 3. Gene Keady down by 12 and by as many as 16 at one point. So the tone that Iowa set in the first half has not been shaken in the first 5 minutes here of the second half.
No, they've had a lot of good things happen for them.
Tough angle almost goes for Evans. Worley stays after it on the offensive glass.
After a good defensive play, you've got to get the rebound.
Recker blocks the 3-point try by Lewis. 4-on-3 break. Tough catch. Pierce bangs into Marshall. Traveling is the call. Saturday, be sure to catch the NHL on ABC. Some of you will see the Red Wings take on the Blues. Others will see the Rangers and the Penguins, while still others will see the Avalanche host the Kings. All begins at 3 Eastern Saturday on ABC. Iowa and Purdue here to be followed by Northwestern and Michigan. This will be on ESPN. Winner of this game will take on the top seed Wisconsin tomorrow.
But Worley just picked up his 4th.
Boy, 3 and 4 come back to back.
Yeah, he gives Steve Alford a nice presence because of his ability to work around the basket. He'll get a chance to see. He's right in the middle. He'll come from the left side. They call him for pushing Busher.
So Worley replaced by Gerald Riley. Glenn Worley playing as well as he has maybe all year. 9 points as he sits down.
He's one of the reasons why I think that the Hawkeyes thought they'd do better, because he showed signs last year that he could dominate the game for very short periods. They just thought those periods would be longer, but this year they've just been seldom.
They projected improvement by Worley, by Boyd. Boyd reaches in, gets that steal, and then fouled by Willie Dean, who tries to get it back, and that is his 4th. So the Big Ten's leading scorer, 4 fouls with 14 minutes still to go. How much worse can it get for Gene Keady?
Yeah, it just doesn't have options. I thought this was a good call. First of all, Dean knocked Luke Recker over. He actually got away with the first one.
That's an easy call.
Yeah. I mean, he may have gotten away with the first one. The second one, you can see his disappointment. He figured, if I don't get called for the first one, as hard as I hit Luke, you cannot call it for anything else.
Just the 3rd Boilermaker under Keady to lead the Big Ten in scoring. First since the big dog, Glenn Robinson, did it back-to-back, 93 and 94. The other 20 years ago. Chief Edmondson. Traffic. Evans drives right around it for the reverse. Wow.
Yeah, that's been kind of the thing that's happened to Purdue all year. When you get low post defense like that, it's pretty hard to win games.
13 for Evans. Air ball Smith. And need I say more? And this type of activity all day for Reggie Evans.
All right, let's see what he does here. He gets the ball. Oh, yeah, he does double dribble. That's double dribble.
You think he had control?
No, there's no doubt he had control. Because the reason he had control, he tapped it to himself. He had to control it to tap it to himself. It's one thing to misdribble it. Mishandle it.
Alley-oop. Recker intended for Pierce, and it almost went in on its own. Just the 8th Iowa turnover. Back down comes Smith.
I feel good for Rodney Smith after that air ball. I mean, he's playing at home in potentially his last game. You'd like to see him go out pretty good.
Rodney and his Pike High School team won a state championship in 1998. Recker, too hard on the drive, one-hand rebound Smith. Evans stripped him at midcourt, and they're 3-on-2. Boyd, open, pull-up, 3. Can't get the roll, tapped out to Recker. Follows from 15.
Yeah, I mean, they go from an opportunity to get it, go down 12, to being down 16.
Recker with 15. Everything Iowa touches turning to gold and black for them today.
And a little bit of it, a little bit is a function of effort. Their effort is much better than the effort we saw before.
Long three-pointer missed by Marshall and a rebound foul. Reiner. First on Jared. Here's how you lead the Big Ten in rebounding back-to-back years.
You assume every shot is missed, but you stay after it. You see Recker right there in position to knock down the shot.
All because Evans kept it live for him. He has a double-double. His 17th double-double this year. And the call on Evans colliding with John Allison just his second.
What was that? Did he think he had any chance to get away with that as a basketball point?
I think everything else he's tried has worked. I think he's thinking, why not?
Okay. I would say that's probably a better assessment than mine.
Parkinson's pass into traffic, knocked out of bounds. Well, they got 3 days to go, at best 3 days to go. But if Recker and Evans play the way they have, everybody else close to this effort today, Iowa, again, is going to be a tough team to dislodge from this tournament. This is the way they've looked to play all year and haven't. Knocked away from Allison by Reiner. At least since December. We'll put it that way, they haven't. Since their 12-3 start. Intended for Evans, knocked away by Carroll, traveling. 11:36 to go. Iowa, 62-46 over Purdue.
For 1 week a year, nothing else matters except this. Who will rise to the occasion and be crowned champion?
If you don't like this, you don't like basketball.
Championship Week, presented by 7-Up, continues on ESPN and ESPN2. For teams and times, log on to ESPN.com.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you. And if you call 1-800-645-ARMY right now, you'll also receive a free Army t-shirt with your video. Discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
The compact Rosario 5000 TPC has something for everyone. For film buffs, a free DVD drive. Or for music buffs, a free CDRW drive. For technology buffs, an Intel Pentium 4 processor with power to burn. And burn and burn. Yeah, it's a buff PC, all right. And it's just $7.99 after a $50 instant rebate. So, financial buffs, call 1-800-331-7390 to buy now and get a free DVD or CDRW drive.
11:36 to go. Iowa leading by 16. Sunday night, 8 Eastern, ESPN. Catch ESPN's presentation of the season on the brink. Viewer discretion strongly advised. ESPN and ESPN2 will present 2 airings unedited on ESPN and edited with reduced audible adult language on ESPN2. It's part of the block on ESPN. Steve Alford Major cog to that story, of course. 85-86 Indiana team. On from there to a highly successful coaching career with his wife Tanya. Since I think first grade they've been together. She is as intense about the game of basketball, if not more so, as Steve.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, we've done a number of games at Harbor Hawkeye Arena, and Tanya, even though she has two young children, if you take a look at Sam Alford, who's Steve's dad and has been with him on all of his coaching stops, I mean, they are an intense group.
Another Kayla. Watching is John Allison, fouled by Recker. It's his third point. And when times were bad this year, Tanya was about as down as Steve, but I think a couple weeks ago at Wisconsin, even though they lost, they saw the signs of a turnaround, because at that point the issue had been effort, and they played really hard that night. They lost. They didn't necessarily play as well as they hoped, but they saw the seeds planted that are coming to fruition here today.
Well, what they saw is all of a sudden he didn't have to coach effort.
Recker, two more.
Allison has got to make a decision, but Steve Alford didn't have to coach effort. He could coach execution, and any coach would much prefer to be where you're coaching and helping guys understand what they have to get done.
Allison blocked by Reiner. Jump tied up by Brody Boyd. It'll stay in Purdue hands.
Reiner makes the defensive play, though. Somehow Allison's got to figure out a way to get that up. You see, Reiner does a good job. He stays down, hand up. When the shot is taken, he gets up to it, and the ball comes back. Brody gets tied up with Allison, and they get a jump ball.
Marshall cut off by Evans. Not much in the way of penetration today by Purdue. Have tried to get it low to the big men better. That's goaltending. Counted for Allison.
Good fight by Allison just to stay in the game. Reiner got goaltended. The question is, does it hit the backboard? We don't have much question about it here, but take a look for yourself. Hits the backboard, then touch. No doubt about it, Reiner's late.
Boilermakers go to the full court press, force another tie. This one will go to Iowa.
No, this one goes to Purdue. Doesn't it?
Nope. They
How
had
do they get it back to Iowa?
Well, they had the one forced by Boyd just a second ago.
A little slow changing on the directional error.
Luke Recker, 7 of 8 from the field today. 17 points. And none of them have been threes. He has not settled for outside. He's been as active as we've seen him maybe all year at moving without the ball, and when he has the ball, driving hard to the hole. As Boyd does here. Can't get the left hand finish. Evans, another putback. Iowa plus 11 on the boards today. 15 points, 13 rebounds for Evans. Recker with the blocking foul, his third.
Both Alford and Recker thought he had position. On the drive, Marshall took it strong. You can maintain your position. They felt that Luke got there late, hoping for a prayer not to be answered.
So his third, putting Marshall on the line. Purdue in the bonus. Good point for Marshall.
You remember, if you will, in the first half, this was reversed. The bonus situation for Iowa was at like 13-40-something.
Yep.
49, if I'm not mistaken. So it's reversed, and let's see if Purdue can find a way to at least to get themselves, in a better position to make a late run.
By this half, Dave outscored Iowa from the free throw line 5-0. Marshall checks out. Demetrius Kilgore, Austin Parkinson, Matt Carroll, all off the bench. Smith and Allison, the only two starters in the game right now for Keady. Backcourt pressure. Brody Boyd across in time to Pierce. Demetrius Kilgore, their second leading scorer, averaging 10 per game, scoreless in this one. And the Hawkeyes turn it over. The pass off Duez Henderson.
Well, it was a tough pass to handle. Reggie Evans is trying to say that Duez should have turned the other way. If you're making the pass and you don't think you can turn the other way, then you don't make the pass. Don't blame it on the guy trying to catch it.
This was before the shot. Sonderleiter has his fourth. The sophomore who started at center today, 6'9" out of Des Moines, will be replaced by Reiner.
Not only started, but he started the Hawkeyes. I thought he gave them a great opportunity as you look at Willie Dean sitting on the bench in terms of he went to the basket strong, got a couple fouls early, started both the first half and the second half strong. Now has to sit on the bench. Reiner is going to have to play it out.
One out of two for Allison. 66-53.
Oh, double dribble. Yeah, he did. He definitely mishandled it.
A little indecision as he reached the paint.
Well, he's making a move. He doesn't know if he can. What he was thinking of is Allison came at him, and he didn't know whether to pass it or to keep going to the basket. And the indecision caused him to double dribble with the ball.
Boyd and Henderson both out. And Chauncey Leslie back in. Not many turnovers. Especially only 7 by Purdue team that has trailed most of the way by double figures. You can't point to that as a problem. Austin Parkinson fouled. Look at how the Big Ten first round will shape up. After Iowa-Purdue conclude, we'll have around a 4:30 tip on ESPN for Northwestern and Michigan. And then tonight, ESPN regional coverage for Minnesota and Penn State. Quarterfinals begin tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. ESPN2 with maybe the best matchup of the entire tournament. Indiana, Michigan State. Indiana, one of the quad champions, and Michigan State ended the season playing almost as well as Illinois. They were clearly the two hot teams down the stretch.
Marcus Taylor for the Michigan State Club really played well his last two contests. Eked out Willie Dean in the scoring, 17.7 to 17.4.
Well, Taylor, until that last week, nobody talked about him for Player of the Year, and then 32 and 34 points in his last two games, and you had to think about it.
It got your attention. Jared Jeffries, who had been solid the first 10 until his ankle injury, ended up getting the Big Ten Player of the Year, and I think rightfully so.
Foul called on Carroll. Willie Dean led the Big Ten. First Boilermakers since Glenn Robinson in '94 to do so. And then with that closing rush, Taylor just edging out Recker for number 2. Recker and Evans with 3 and 4. Today, 11 for Dean, and been sitting for a long time with 4 fouls. But Purdue, at the moment, working on a 6-0 run. String together another couple of stops, and they will be right back in the game. With plenty of time, 8:40. Recker, a long 3, and it's his first of the day. 20 points for Recker.
He hits the 3 when he falls down. Steve Alford is sitting, is kind of squatted down, and Recker falls right between Alford's legs. That deep was the 3.
Allison is blocked by Reiner. For Luke Recker to have 20 points and only 1 3-point basket, an indication of how he's gone about his business today. Little bit of a flop maybe as he bounces off Matt Carroll, hoping for a 4-point play. Allison back to the line. For only 9 shot attempts. Great efficiency on the part of Luke Recker today. Allison again, 1 out of 2. And here in the second half, at least Gene Keady seeing his team get to the line and reverse the big disadvantage from the first half. They're 8 of 12 in the second half. Dean coming back in, but his team down 14.
team down 14. They've got to try to apply some pressure full court, see if they got fresh bodies in it. I'm watching Maynard Lewis with his bad knee. I don't know how much he can help them with the pressure.
Recker, who had 11 stitches in a collision against Ohio State in the last couple of weeks. Evans, who's been battling a bruised thigh, and neither one showing any effects whatsoever today. Evans draws another foul by Carroll.
Well, it's the same issue. If you stretch the defense, and that's what Luke Recker does, he pulls the center so far away and then it's late to get back. Not much you can do. Right there, turning the corner, Marshall is there. You see Evans asking for the ball. Allison steps up. Carroll has to foul on the backside.
Evans up to 16 points. Rodney Smith back in. Carroll leaves after his second foul.
One shot, gentlemen.
So they reversed the big problem from the first half. But the scoreboard doesn't show any progress at all. In fact, they're further behind than they were.
Haven't been able to get enough stops, Dave. I mean, they've done a better job offensively. They just haven't been able to get enough stops. You're looking at an Iowa team that has 71 points with 8 minutes to go in the game. That is too many in anybody's college basketball game.
Purdue's defense, when they changed tactics away from their normal defense, the last 6 games showed a lot of improvement. Those last 6 opponents had just 40%. They cut their points allowed by about 10 per game. But you're not seeing any effects of that here today. Evans draws his third. And Allison drawing a foul just about every time he's touched it in the second half.
Got to make foul shots. I mean, that's the thing that starts catching up with you after a while. You got a chance to score with no time off the clock.
Big Ten's leading shot blocker this year. And a guy who began his career as a project, ending it as the 3rd leading shot blocker in school history. When we come back, we're going to break down the much-traveled career, the ups and downs of Luke Recker.
Up is proud to sponsor youth hockey. And for when they get thirsty, I've provided plenty of 7-Up because I care about the kids. 7-Up is now proud to sponsor youth swimming. Kick those legs, Tommy.
What would you do with the Pontiac Grand Prix?
I'm out, man. Let's go.
I'm out to see the world. San Francisco, here we go.
Are we having fun yet? It doesn't take much to have fun, does it?
It's like riding on a surfboard.
You're going to have to call me Dixie if I wear this.
All right, Dixie.
I can smell the salt water from here. Give us a swell, baby. So what would you do with the Pontiac Grand Prix? Tell us. Pontiac.com.
There's some good surf out there.
On Friday, March 15th, 64 teams will try to prove why only they should be called champions. The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Coverage begins Friday, March 15th on ESPN and ESPN2.
ESPN2's presentation of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours. And in part by Pontiac. What would you do with some Pontiac excitement?
As you look at Monument Circle in downtown Indianapolis, Iowa leading Purdue 71-56. First round Big Ten matchup. We've seen a terrific afternoon develop for Luke Recker, who in 1997 was Indiana's Mr. Basketball. His boyhood dream was realized when he played at IU. He left after 2 seasons, went to Arizona, involved in a horrific car accident, recovered, transferred to Iowa, and is the active scoring leader in the Big Ten Conference as he comes toward the conclusion of his career. But it will not be today, apparently. Only 7:38 to go. Iowa up 12 at the half. At 15, and Chauncey Leslie untouched.
I mean, and that has been kind of the sign of the way things are gone for Purdue. And it's one of the things I know Gene Keady for a long time. Defense has just not been there. The lack of effort in terms of the leadership from the senior class has been a big part of that. They have not shown the new players what they need to do.
Smith, part of that senior class, 4 of them in the starting lineup today, but they have not had any edge in terms of turning the experience into points.
I mean, you got to get out and cut off the ball. Nice screen there by Evans, but someone has to get there to defend the basket.
Well, a lot of speculation about Keady. Now in his mid-60s. Allison, 22 years at Purdue, just 2 years removed from one of his best playoff runs ever. 1 step short of the Final Four, lost to Wisconsin. But last year, the NIT, this year will not get to the postseason. Right now, let's check in with Reese Davis.
Okay, Dave, we mentioned at halftime, Georgetown has owned Miami in Big East tournament play, 6-1 all time. And here is Gerald Riley from the corner stroking the 3, and the Hoyas on top of the Canes by 4, 14 and chase to go in the second half.
Possible surprise there. Here, Recker fouled by Marshall.
You know, you look at, and you're talking about Gene Keady and people think about changes. I personally don't agree with him not coaching. I think he's done an excellent job, and everyone is entitled to years being a little slow. You know, in the Big East, Craig Esterick has quietly done one heck of a job replacing a Hall of Fame coach in John Thompson.
He has.
I mean, he's really gotten those guys to play extremely hard. You can take a look at Gene Keady's accolades, if you will. 6-time National Coach of the Year, 6 Big Ten titles, 16 NCAA tournament appearances,
2 Elite Eights. This team in 2000 was their 3rd straight Sweet 16 team. And some of the contributors to that group have been part of the frustration the last couple of years. Offensive foul, Gerald Riley.
I'm laughing because I don't think he got hit that hard. Riley didn't think he hit him that hard either. He turns, now his right arm is up. But you can see that was just completely a flop. Nice job, John. If you get them to believe it, that's what you're trying to do.
Even Ryder had to smile. This 3 by Lewis. Evans, 15th rebound. 75-50, under 6 minutes to go. Well, Keady had said he didn't think it was much of an advantage to play on this floor as Evans gets another lay-in because they played here a couple times this year already and lost both times. And it turns out he's right. They were winless, in fact, on the road in the conference for the first time since 1965-66. Every other Keady team won at least 2 conference road games. The only wins away from West Lafayette this year. Their season opener, they won at Valpo, and they beat Southwest Missouri State December 20th in the Las Vegas Classic, and that's the biggest surprise about a team with this experience, that they never broke through on the road.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That's senior leadership and toughness. Because you go on the road, the one thing you can't do is you can't turn the ball over, and you got to be able to defend. And boy, do you need to make shots. Gene Keady can only last distance. Gene has a point-blank layup and tries to avoid the defenders and shoots an air ball almost for a layup.
Well, they have him coming back next year. Parkinson and Busher just sophomores. Kilgore, another junior, coming back for 1 more year. Been productive most of this year. Marshall, however, leaving after today. So is Allison. Dean hit 3 early 3-pointers and nothing since then.
What just a bad decision. You get a fast break situation. You shoot a 3 in transition, okay. They get it back, and without 2 seconds going on the shot clock, you shoot another 3.
Yeah. Not a successful formula today.
No.
3-pointer on the other hand here from Chauncey Leslie. 80-61, Hawkeyes the biggest lead yet. And Dean draws the blocking foul, driving in. And that is 4 on Leslie.
You got to cover. Just no doubt about it. Good job shooting the ball. As you can see, there is that gap. This man has to go. Marshall has to go. I don't care where Luke Recker is. You've got to cover the ball, and somebody's got to cover up for him.
Leslie departing with his 4th foul, replaced by Ryan Hogan. And it may have been that the 3-pointers that Purdue hit early turned into
fool's gold.
Exactly right. A negative. They hit 4 of their first 6, and they're 2 for 16 ever since.
Yep, that's fool's gold. You think you're going to be making them.
Hogan couldn't have been much more open. Maynard Lewis, another senior, done after today. So it's definitely a recruiting issue. Whether Keady plans to coach another 5 years, 10 years, the perception that he's got to fight. He's got to convince recruits that he's going to be around. And he's hearing otherwise, no doubt, from other coaches on the recruiting trail. He's got to add to the challenge, but you know he doesn't want to leave after the last couple of years because they have set such a different tone to his entire career. Nice block by Allison.
Well, and speaking of recruiting, they have a class that some are saying is one of the top 25 classes, recruiting classes in the country. So he's been able to convince them early that he can do that. It's the inability to make plays that's caused them problems.
Lewis on the feed from Smith. 12 for Maynard Lewis.
It could be, as you said, looks very much like he's playing his last.
Well, barring a miracle with 3:23 to go, he is playing his last game. They're going to fall to 13 and 18. It's the second losing season of the era. Rodney Smith draws his 4th. And a look at how the Big Ten quarterfinals will shape up. Indiana, Michigan State. What a matchup that's going to be. 11:30 here on ESPN2. Starts it off tomorrow. Then Wisconsin will take on Iowa. Ohio State against the winner of our next game, Northwestern Michigan. And the 4th quarterfinal tomorrow night will have Illinois against the winner of Minnesota Penn State. And that's an 8 straight win Illinois team. Like Iowa, they have finally found the right note that they searched for so much during the regular season.
Figured out the recipe a little bit. Frank Williams has even alluded to the fact that he didn't play with the kind of energy and effort necessary early in the year and recognized that that process caused his team to play without the necessary energy. But for the Indiana-Michigan State game day, I say we joined the Breakfast Club at 11:30. Or you can call it the Brunch Club if you'd like, but it should be a good show.
Iowa timeout. 2:55 remaining, and the outgoing seniors for Steve Alford aren't done yet. And from the looks of what we've seen from Recker and Evans, they've got a lot more in store as they'll continue on in the quarterfinals tomorrow, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers, the top seed in the tournament. Well, last year they lost 7 of the final 8 coming in and swept 4. This season, we talked about the fact that they were better set up for a turnaround in the tournament because they're healthy this year. They have Recker, they have Hogan. Evans has shaken off a bruised thigh, which has had him coming off the bench the last 2 games. It's just remarkable how this team has snapped to life and has dominated this game and played terrific offense, still shooting 58% for the game.
Dave, you shoot 58% against somebody unless you just flat out letting them make shots every time, you will win. Iowa's done a much better job of putting themselves in position offensively to make plays.
So Michigan Northwestern coming up next, 4:30 tip-off ESPN. Switch over and catch the second matchup of the Big Ten tournament as Championship Week presented by 7-Up continues from Indianapolis. Iowa, by the way, split their 2 regular season meetings with Wisconsin. They won 69-57 in the opener, January 2nd, and then February 19th fell 64-56. But that was a game where Alford started to see the glimmer of a turnaround.
Yeah, he's starting to see that. But Bo Ryan, coaching Wisconsin, did a great job. And they're starting to, I mean, they surprised everyone by just being in position to make plays. Boy, you're talking about making a play. There's another drive the lane, get a layup.
They've gotten a layup anytime they've wanted.
And that's usually been what's happened on the other end. And I think Gene Keady's seen about enough of that.
Wow. No defense on that side. Quick three-point miss on the offensive side. And 18 rebounds now, a season high for Reggie Evans.
Eating the glass.
Owning the glass. Lewis fouling Pierce. 100th season of Iowa basketball. 71 out of those 100. They've had at least a 500 record. They will improve to 17-14 here today. Pierce will have one more, 8 points. The freshman, who's not looked like a freshman today.
But that's been part of the problem they've had, that he had to grow up. Once, because I talked to Steve Alford early in the year, he thought Pierce would be a good player. But to come in and play in the Big Ten, you have to learn how hard you have to play and play your coach's style. Steve Alford starting to see that with his young team.
Tonight on Robo Bash, we got 5-time world champion Victor. And in this corner, Mini Fridge.
Todd, what is it?
It's a Bud Light.
Lock on.
With a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light. Oh, no mercy!
What would you do with a Pontiac Grand Am?
We could probably put a little pep in our step, ladies. What's something we've never done before? Let's go go-karting and bump each other. How's my driving? Look, Wisconsin! You guys want a bunchy?
It'll be a blast. Down to the middle, baby.
What's the huge car just flies?
What would you do with a Pontiac Grand Am?
Love you.
Tell us at Pontiac.com.
We moved into a new house where Mom got this great new job. I heard her talking to Dad about doing the right thing with her retirement money. Something about rollover, which gave me this great idea. Come on, baby. Come on. Roll over. Roll over. I'm just gonna turn your body this way. I hope her rollover was easier. It must be.
No Load Mutual Funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Chris Davis back in the studio. Conagra Foods, Big East Tournament, quarterfinals, Georgetown and Miami. G-Town went to the end yesterday against Providence. This one has all the earmarks. That's Marcus Barnes stroking the three for the Canes. Put them up 4, but then Drew Hall coming up with the steal and the layup, and Georgetown surges back on top. 1-point game about halfway through the second half, guys.
Well, 2-minute mark here. Reese and Iowa will storm into the quarterfinal round here in Indianapolis. Joe Marshall missing a three-pointer, 84-67 for the Hawkeyes, and maybe you now put them in that same category as Illinois. All year, coaches talked about Illinois as the sleeping dog, and when they woke up, everybody heard their bite. 8 straight wins for the Illini. Iowa will take on Wisconsin tomorrow. Wisconsin, one of the 4 co-champions. Lewis lost it, 8 on the shot clock. Leslie gets it back. Recker with a 3, and how much better could today end for Luke Recker?
I mean, not only that, at the beginning of the play, if Lewis doesn't touch the ball, Iowa was in trouble because the shot clock was getting ready. It was going to be a backcourt violation, and that's why Pierce let the ball go.
25 points for Luke Recker.
Recker in rhythm, catches it, steps up to it, knocks it down.
It's the Recker everybody looked for all year, and he showed up just in time and takes off for the bench just in time to get a well-deserved ovation from the Hawkeye fans here. 25.6 rebounds, puts his team up by 20. With a minute and change to go. Lewis, rebound putback, Rodney Smith, 13 points.
Well, this is, as you said, this is the Iowa team everybody had hoped to see early in the year. There's been some growing up at the guard position, which is really important. And that's been a big part of it. Luke Recker's turned the corner there a little bit. And that's what's put them in the position they're in right now. But they've got to go back, get some rest, because Wisconsin's going to be a tough out for them.
Beware Badgers. Maynard Lewis for the three. 31.8 seconds. And that's not to say Iowa doesn't have reason to beware, too.
This was a timeout that was called, but Purdue doesn't really want it. Austin Parkinson called the timeout, and Gene Keady didn't really want it. He literally just shoved his team back on the court. Normally in the game, you're trying to win it. This is so far away, Gene Keady would not take the timeout. That's why there's a brief pause.
Final 30 seconds. World's strongest woman coming up next here on ESPN2. You saw right? Look at me like that.
I've not heard of that before.
We'll stick around.
We've got some more hoops going on.
We do. About half an hour or so on ESPN. Northwestern Michigan. Game one of the Big Ten tournament goes to the Iowa Hawkeyes in a big way. They blow out Purdue 87-72, 25 from Recker. Reggie Evans with a season high. 18 rebounds, ties his career high to go with 19 points. Michigan Northwestern next on ESPN. For Quinn Buckner, Dave Barnett, so long for now. From Indianapolis, this has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader.